Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle video tutorial on Photoshop and libraries. I'm using 221, but same for 220, 219, etc. Now, there's been a few changes to libraries over time, and of course, not available in earlier versions. So, what have you got? Libraries here. So, window and libraries. Literally, libraries can store everything. Everything, all the assets can all just be thrown in the library. Now, you may get them back in the same form. Maybe, maybe not. However, it's weird actually when you've got a custom shape, you put a custom shape in there, it becomes a graphic and it's slightly odd to access it. However, you can access it as a proper vector, but it's just a little bit fiddly. So with this, you've got different libraries. So you've got libraries here and you've got here, these are my recent ones, arrows, repeats. It gives you the top 5 or so of ones that you've worked on recently. And also below that, you've got all libraries. Now, probably a good idea to have a nice convention, a naming convention, maybe something better than DAD1, DAD2, DAD3, DAD4, or DAZPix, etc. Just give some very good description. And likewise, a description to the actual resource. So don't just save it and then just ignore it. Just call it layer 1 or layer 563. It's a really good idea to give a name to it. So if it's a picture of a face, give a name to it, and so on and so on. Because what you can do, you can search all your libraries. So if you like looking for patterns, so you've got here, just type word pattern. And you can see all your patterns. Every single pattern you've got stored away on your cloud server. Cloud, you've got a space that Adobe's given you for storing all these files. So all these things can be there safely and you can quickly access all your pattern designs and see them all here. But it's probably a good idea to not just have patterns, maybe have brick patterns or something so you can obviously search down fine detail. Because you might have thousands of entries called patterns, like, I haven't here, but you can certainly see it's a possibility if you just keep adding stuff, and that's probably not a good idea. So what you can do, just remove that. So let's go to one of the libraries, and arrow custom shapes. Now that's one I created today, and what you can do, you can search current library. So I can just say arrow. Obviously, probably won't find it, doesn't find any at all. 5 results from arrows. Well, that's a bit of luck. You can rename things as well, and I'm just going to now come out of that. I don't want to search. Just want to point out you can search through these. You can also go back, just simply go over here. There's also this lovely invite feature. Must admit, haven't used it. Never invited anyone to access my libraries. So that's, but I just pointed out that is available there. And also you've got options here as well. Search current library. Also you've got Adobe stock, current library. They love, of course, the Adobe stock. So that's on there. And also all libraries as well can be searched from there. There's also up here, you've got an option here of create a new library. So you might want to create a new library and move things. In this, you might want to move stuff, and you can move things from a library into another library if you want to do that. Also, you can go here, you've got import libraries because you can export a library. So all this library can be exported, save it onto your hard disk. And then you can, of course, go and import a library. Maybe you've got a colleague at work who's got a library that wants to give to you, and then they can just import or export using that. Also, you create a new library from the current document. So if you've got a lot of material on here, you can quickly create a library from document. Whether it does it perfectly is always debatable, but I guess it's, because whenever I've tried it with multiple items, it always seems to make a bit of a... Anyway, invite people, you've got get link, you've got rename, you've also got delete as well. So you can delete library, rename, etc. Also show names, always show names. So if you want to see the names, up to you. Let's close that. You can see layer 1. I don't give the world's greatest naming conventions, which makes it very hard for searching as well. Now what you can do, you've also got other things here. You've also got view on website because it's a cloud. So it's a website. So you can click on that and it will go off and it will show you as a web page, which is really great. You can also view deleted items, which is very odd. So maybe you've deleted something, so you can view those. So clearly it doesn't delete them at that point. You also got learn more, etc. So let's actually use it. Let's use it in Vengeance and all that sort of stuff. So what you can do, you can simply drag over and you can add it. And you can see then it becomes a layer. That's why I've got layers over here. And you can resize. Now it's just a graphic design. And you can see, if you stretch this out quite a bit, it really becomes quite rough. Now it's still a vector design. So if I actually, let's just click on that. I'm actually going to resize it. You can see if you go over to the press return, go over here, you've got a little cloud there. And so you can double click on that and you can go in and you can see it's a vector design there. If I just go there, you can see the points. If you want to access it as a vector, I personally, what I do, there might be another way around this, so please put a comment. I always go and just quickly simply go edit and copy and then just close it. And then once I'm out, I can always just simply paste it back in again and then manipulate the vector design, save it as custom shape, etc. However, you can get around that problem by simply holding down the Alt key or Option key, depending on your machine. So you drag across there, and what happens, it just actually, yes, do it please, and I can actually access it straight away. Now it's not linked to this. These other ones are linked to it. So any changes I make to this, it's linked to the library if I just drag it like that. But if I hold down the Alt or Option key, it breaks that link. So it breaks it, and I generally prefer this approach, because if I'm going to edit these things, quite often I edit them in Illustrator, and then I don't mind working with it as actually the material embedded in the library. But when it comes to Photoshop, I generally just simply drag over and then just use it as a vector design, etc., by holding down the Alt or Option key, and that's on my keyboard. People often ask, they say, where's the Alt Option key? It's on the keyboard, next door normally to the CMD and Control, etc. So you can move that. And there's obviously, now this one's a layer 1. That one, again, very good naming convention. Press return. Now this is made up of quite a lot. It's a smart object, simply a smart object. So again, I've just dragged it over, double click on that, and you see go into that, and you can see then, so everything that I created with that smart object, you've got layer effects, bevel, boss, color overlay, drop shadow, smart filters, Gaussian blur. They're all still available. Still, you can edit them. So you can change it. So if you want to, you can just tweak that, change that. And you can also say, go and add some more. Maybe you go and add let's go for a gradient overlay. So just add that, maybe not overlay there. Let's go for normal. Drag that down. Press return. And then, of course, what you can do, you notice it's a PSB file. That's the format that it's actually accessed as. So close that, save, and that will be updated. And you can see it's updated there. It's also updated here as well. Now, I'm just going to remove that now. And what you can do, let's go for some other images. Let's say repeat. Now, these ones are from Illustrator. So simply just drag. Now, these are vector designs straight away. And it will take obviously a few seconds to process, but it's just a vector design, which you can then, of course, resize. I must admit, when it comes to the formats like custom shapes and things, it doesn't do it as well as it does it with Illustrator stuff. It's very odd. Maybe that's just me, maybe I'm misunderstanding things, but it just seems odd. If you save a custom shape, it should return it as a custom shape. It does it with Illustrator files correctly, but it doesn't seem to do it properly with its own resources, which is very odd. But anyway, you can resize it, press return like that. And again, any changes, if you try and change this, it will open up Illustrator. It was created in Illustrator. So you can right click and you've got various options. Place linked, place copy. That's the same as by holding down the Alt or Option key, the place copy. It's just a copy. If you just do place linked, it's just simply just drag in. Also, you can edit it. That will go into Illustrator. You can add a description. So you want to add a description. This is X and Y. And you can click OK. You've got 130 characters you can type in there. And you can drag this one over as well. And so on and so on. Again, that's a vector design. And if you go back to Illustrator, you can still edit this. This is still a live design. So you can still modify the number of instances. This is obviously created by the repeat feature. So press return there. You can also view by group, view by type. You can also do view by type, click there. You can sort by date modified and by name. You can also click there and change the way it looks there. Then you can come back out of repeat, maybe go to patterns. Let's just go to patterns. Let's remove those. What you can do, simply just drag. That's a PNG file, pattern. So you can see the pattern design there. Now, what you can also do is you can, if you've got pattern fills, you can drag those over. So let's just quickly create a pattern fill. I'm just going to quickly go to a layer and new fill layer pattern. Let's just create one, click OK, and just design there. Yep. what you can then do is you can just drag. Now you can do this with all of the various resources in Illustrator. Simply drag over there, and when you do that, you'll notice a little plus appears. And you can see it's now stood. And you notice also it's separated it. You've got patterns here and you've got graphics. But what you can also do, I'm just going to remove that now. Now, obviously I've got maybe go and do some more work. I can do various other things. And I think, you know what? I wouldn't mind a pattern back in again. What I can do, simply go over here and I can drag it. And you've got the design there, press return. And you'll notice then you've got pattern fill over here. And you can double click on there and you can then go into this design here and double click there, and you can now tweak your design. So let's put it to 25, say, make it a bit smaller, click OK. And again, you'll notice you're in your this one's PSD instead of PSB, weird. Save, and then it will update this, and you can see it's updated there, and also over here as well. So you can see your design there. Now, weirdly, it's not actually a pattern layer at this point. Very odd. There's some way it does it is slightly odd. You can, of course, resize it, you can rotate it, and so on and so on. And again, you can still, at this point, if you want, you can go and edit it like that. So click there, and again, over here, double click, and you can say, make it go the other way. 89, or whatever. You can change it, and then come back, again, close that, save, and it will again update over here, and you can see probably change it in a sec. It takes a few seconds to process it because it's stored away on the cloud, and you can see all the various details here, dimensions, and all those sorts of things. So you can come back out there. What you can do, you can also right click, and you'll notice that the right click, there's a number of different options. So you get you've got description, group. You can also copy things. You can copy it over to a different location. You can also move it to a different library as well. You can also rename, and you can delete. But if you go, let's go up here. Let's go to a different one here. And I'm just going to go for arrows custom paint because I've got that. Now if I go over here and let's just select something now. So I select a shape there and I can go over here, right click. I've got this selected. So I've got this shape design selected here. Now because it's obviously a colour and not one of these designs, what you can do, right click, you'll notice it says apply fill colour or apply stroke colour. So what I can do, I can make that green. So apply stroke colour. So it becomes green over there. Over here, say I want this to be red now. So I click there. What I can do, apply fill colour. That will become then red. Also, apply colour overlay. So you can do that as well. Not so what actually that does at this point, to be honest. But anyway, it must do something. However, right click there, you've got description, duplicate, and so on and so on. So you can do a whole load of things. And also if you want to, of course, what you can do, you can always save things as well. I've saved obviously patterns, but you can also save shapes. You can do other things. So let's just go back and let's just create a new library. Test. Always go for test 1 or something like that. Very original. What you can do, simply drag that design over there and you can see it's got a polygon 1 there. It's a PSD file as it says there. But what you can also do, say you've got, let's just select a different design. And then what you can do, there's an option here. Obviously at this point, it's very hard to save a colour. There's no feature there, down there, save it as a colour to the library. But what you can do, go down here to this little plus. And there's a little option here, create from image, fill colour, stroke colour, foreground colour, graphic, and add all. Add all didn't work particularly well when I did last. Added everything all together and wasn't what I wanted. What I thought it was going to do would be add them all, literally bit by bit. So if you've got like 30 items in your file, then it would add all the 30 items separately. But it didn't. It actually added them all as a group, which wasn't exactly what I wanted. However, so what I can do, I can add the fill colour. So I can click there and you can see what happens. It's added the fill colour. Now you can see it's black. I think that's black. No, it's not. Now what I can do, I can go down here, stroke colour. Yeah, you can see it's black and it's added that. Now, if I go over to here, to this pattern design, now over here, unfortunately it just says foreground colour. Interesting to try it. Let's try it, foreground colour. well, that's all it does. Doesn't actually save that. Now, that would be more useful, wouldn't it? If it had just done the gradient. If it said, you know what, I can find these colours, and it's obviously clearly a gradient. Now, I probably was expecting too much from it. However, you can also do, obviously you can delete it, and you can then got your little cloud symbol down there. Occasionally it comes up and warns saying things are not right or whatever. However, that is a run through of libraries. Hopefully that it's understandable. It's one of those things that I think libraries seems to work. There's things that I would love to see slightly different still. I don't think still for me it's not really 100% there. There's certain things that I think, oh, I wish it would do it slightly different. It really should be a universal store that it would store, and it does it well with Illustrator. Illustrator I find really, but for Photoshop there seems to be things that it just doesn't want to save. Now I'm just going to quickly go, let's create a gradient layer. Let's go to, I'm just going to quickly, you can lay styles as well. Let's go new fill gradient. I'm just going to see. So I've got a gradient here. Let's press return. Now you've got this gradient. Well, now if I drag that over, gradient fill. So it does save the gradient fill. So it does save some things, which is nice. So if I remove that, let's just file a new, click OK. And now if I grab that, and it's got the gradient. Now it doesn't really create it as a gradient layer. It just creates it as a layer. It calls it gradient fill, but it's not a gradient layer. And it would be nice if it actually stored it as a gradient layer. Personally, maybe it's just me. Maybe it doesn't. That's not what it should do, but I think it should do that. So that's what I mean when I think that it would be just a little bit better if you could literally save gradient layers there and you could drag them back. It would be nice. However, hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials all the time about Photoshop, Illustrator and many other applications, of course. Also, if you've got any comments, any opinions yourself, maybe please put some comments. What do you find issues with the library? I mean, maybe, or if I've done things wrong, and please let me know. Or if you know how to do something better than this, please let me know. Things like maybe hold down the Alt Option key. What if you do that? Yes. So if you hold down the Alt Option key, it does save it as a gradient layer. Now, I guess if I go back now to the patterns, let's just go pattern and do the same. Yeah, does the same. Alt Option. That's how you get around that thing. Anyway, I'm not going to redo the whole video just because of that, but it's nice to learn things, I must admit, as well. Anyway, dislike or like, always appreciated as well. Thank you much.